The players have chosen their fates. We are getting started off with the very first round of the Smug Milk Invitational, the real deal. This is the tournament itself. A Protoss versus Protoss on Alcyone LE. We have spawning in the top right of this very first game, the orange Protoss. We have LowTemplar. Spawning as his rival in the bottom left, we have Tenvic. It's official. It's begun. Very interested to see what kind of a tone these two players are looking to set out. I'm also interested for anybody watching. I know my internet is only so-so, so if people have issues or if I start to stutter, please let me know and I'll see what I can do. But very excited to be jumping into this first game. It does look like our blue Protoss player Tenvic is doing his signature gateway on the low ground, starting to build that wall in front of his natural expansion here, sending out the probe across the map to do some early game scouting. In the Protoss base up in the top right, gateway going down, forward pylon going down at the top of the ramp. Does look like these players, I mean, there's not super crazy stuff that you can do this early on in the game, but from what we can see, it does seem like a pretty standard gateway cybernetics core opening. Oh, it looks like LowTemplar is maybe gearing up for, an earlier Nexus. Yeah. On 22 before Cybercore. And it does look like, if we look at Blue's vision, he has not gone over to see that fast expansion. But he will have the slight army advantage, I think, over our orange friend here, simply because the Cybernetics core is coming out so much later for this fast expanding player. But if he's able to get this economy up and going, he will be at a slight advantage going into the mid game here. Does look like we're seeing more gateways. Just gearing up, building up towards that mid game for now. RoboBay coming out for our blue player. What is the tech choice for our orange? We're going to see the Cybernetics core finish up right here. Does look like so far this Stalker, if controlled correctly, does beat these two Zealots, 3 Zealots. However, that's just going to be a lot of time and energy that these players are going to have to spend making sure that their units are staying alive. And he's doing really good. Hasn't taken a single hit. Orange is going to have to retreat back. But realistically, there's nothing that Stalker was going to be able to do. Just poke and harass a little bit and try to maybe play some head games in this early game. RoboBay is complete. Let's see, we haven't seen anything come out of it, any immortals or warp prisms or anything, but that is still on the table, of course. It does look by the supply counts that the early focus on economy is starting to pay off for our orange player here. He's got a pretty sizable army if we look at the army tab here. Units tab, there we go. Yeah, 40 probes from our orange guy. And quite a significant army here compared to the 5 Stalkers. It does look like Stalker heavy play. I wouldn't be surprised if we see this blink upgrade from our blue player here coming out soon. 3 Stalkers out in the middle. Not seen any move out yet, but I have seen some twitchiness in this forward force. We might see a quick poke out across the map as the 2 bases are now fully saturated. Very nearly fully saturated for our orange player, and he might be looking to push out and get a third. We do actually see the blink coming out from our blue Protoss player. Sentries, I believe. I haven't actually been able to test this out just yet, but in a recent patch, they got a mega buff. We'll have to see when these 2 armies eventually do meet if these unassuming Tickle Beam man has some punch to those tickles these times. Oh, I didn't even notice this, but look at the Void Rays suddenly coming out of orange here. Fleet Beacon's already on the way. I have been slacking. I didn't even pay attention to this Sky Toss surprise that we're going to see out of orange. Blue, it just looks like, has continuing to build these Immortals, this solid ground force, but as orange moves out and secures an earlier third, it does look like, man, if I'm blue, I think now's the time before this massive Protoss Air Force gets too high. I think I would want him to make an early strike. Hopefully, take out this third base before it gets up and running, and the game kind of just runs away. But it looks like orange is on the move. He's looking to take advantage of some of this this economy.
Draw the attention.
Yeah.
There's no answer to these voids without Stalkers.
That's such a great point. And man, just the survivability of an army under this Guardian Shield. It does look like that blink is going to be able to kind of play around with those Zealots. There's not going to be much, but yep, it is exactly like Braden was saying, buying some time for these Void Rays to just make their way. He's going to see it now. Fighting's still happening in the middle of the map, but man, oh man, when those Void Rays go to town on a mineral line, there's nothing you can do.
The probe massacre. He's even got 1 air upgrade.
Oh my gosh.
I mean, with the Fleet Beacon, he might want to transition into carriers.
He might. And he very well could. Yeah, Stalkers, to be fair, he has the right tech to be able to, blink down onto them. I think that was a good call to pull back on these remaining Void Rays. Continue to build up. He's got 2 more at home plus some Phoenix.
20 probes lost.
Yeah, that's a rough thing to come back from. And the third base is still going up. Still just making more probes there. Building back up that ground army. Continuing to add to his air forces. And we're seeing the cannon ring go down. Our blue Protoss does not want that Void Ray sneaking in again. Does look like Double Forge is gearing up to get some solid upgrades, but as that's happening, we're seeing a pincer maneuver with 2 of these air forces. The remaining 2 Void Rays on the bottom right, and 2 more Void Rays and 4 Phoenix on the top left of the blue base. It does look like there's going to be some moving out. Immediate blink by those Stalkers, but there's not quite enough. The Phoenix is one by one picking up the Stalkers so that they're helpless. They can't shoot back. And I think he just continues to pick off these Stalkers. 1 Void Ray is very low, does get taken down.
Pizza finished.
The second air group is still waiting on standby. Does look like now that the Void Ray has been taken out and the Phoenixes are starting to lose all that energy, I think the damage has been done for this particular air battle. And it does look like 2 Immortals, because they have no way to provide any good damage in this air combat. He's just sending them across the map, hoping that they can get some damage done, get some attention brought back to the opponent's side of the map. But those Zealots are already on top of the Immortals, and they are going to be surrounded, and they are going to fall. Meanwhile, the reinforcing air units on the bottom are going to run into this cannon wall. There's not much that they're going to be able to want to do against this. Yeah. It does seem like, for now, Tenvic is stabilizing, but one thing to note is he's running out of minerals, and fast. He is going to need to push out eventually to reclaim some space and claim an additional base to be able to build up an army that can fight against this. Because fighting this air battle with trickling in 1 or 2 stalkers at a time is not going to be as effective as these numbers continue to grow. It does look like, if we look at the army tab, 3 stalkers and 1 immortal for our blue Protoss, 8
That's
void
too many
rays.
voids now.
It might just be too many voids. LowTemplar takes game number 1. In game number 1, LowTemplar was able to secure an early lead economically, build an impressive force of void rays and phoenixes, and was able to pick apart the mineral line of the blue Protoss, his enemy. And in the end, I think it was that 22 probes from that initial 4 void rays that really sealed the deal. The rest was just, the fallout of that that amazing void ray sneak around. It does look like our blue Protoss is changing up his tactic. He is going for an early scout this time. Early assimilator before gateway. He's heading straight to the natural expansion of our orange here. It does feel like, okay, pylon going to be set down here, going to prevent that early economic lead from our orange once again. But I am curious. There it is. It's the Forge. We might be seeing a cannon rush from our blue player. In fact, I think that's the only thing that we could be seeing from here, as the cannon indeed does go down. Question is orange paying attention? He does now see the 2 cannons going down, 3 cannons going down, hard committing. And this is an interesting place to commit to, because so far, he's pulling everything. He's pulling all the boys. Oh my gosh. No.
Done cooking.
Okay. Oh
These
gosh.
cannot defeat 2 cannons.
No, they cannot. I think there's some mega scrambling here, especially because Orange hasn't committed anything here yet. He could just pull back and be safe. There's nothing. Oh my gosh, that was so many going down. 6 kills, 4
Break
kills.
out of containment.
He can. He just needs to calm down. He can cool down. He can ensure that nothing gets up the ramp. And he can build a large enough force. If he just gets 1 immortal, that can easily help him just slowly break out. But this is so many cannons. He's committing so hard to this. This is a very different game from last time. It could be that I'm very curious to see what Tenvic's follow-up is to this. Cybernetics Core is going down. We might see a Void Ray follow-up to this, kind of taste of your own medicine kind of thing. But I do have to wonder what's going on in the orange player's head here. The LowTemplar.
For counter cannons.
Yeah. Very interesting. Still the single pylon. Adding another another pylon. Okay, all right. I thought that was another cannon. I was gonna be like, I think 5 is plenty. But that is a good call. We don't want to Artosis pylon. Oh, really? An early tap out. Very interesting. I still think he might have had some time there. We saw after game number 1, Tenvic, huge change in tactics. Very aggressive cannon rush. Very committed strategy. I wonder if this is going to play any good mind games towards the LowTemplar, if he's going to decide to change up his strategy. If he's going to play the same kind of thing, but just paying more attention to watching for those cannons or not. It does look like forward pylon going down at a reasonable location for our blue player. He might have like reversed the reverse psychology thing. He might be playing a super greedy thing this game because, you know, if you're LowTemplar, you don't want to lose to that cannon. You might be playing on the defensive, on the back foot a little bit extra, more than you might. I should have been paying attention. I'm wondering.
He got that low ground.
He did want to just make sure. A little bit early
for a cannon rush, but you never know.
Yep. I wish I had popped this open. I wonder if these players are playing faster, like more anxious than they were in these last 2 games, because this is some good stuff. This is a good series so far. Very interested to see where this goes. Gateway going down on the natural expansion for our blue player. Does look like pylon at the natural as well for LowTemplar. Nothing too crazy this time. I don't think we're going to see any cannons. If they are, they're going to be very late. I do think that we're gearing up for a straight up brawl once again. I will note
the cannon rush.
he does not want that sneaking up on him, and I think he does feel confident. He's throwing down that Nexus. Cybercore down for the for Tenvic. And I will say it's a small thing. Forge also going down for nope, decided not to the last second. The supply counts 27 to 22. It's not a huge thing, but it does seem like LowTemplar is really good about staying on those, always building probes, constantly, never letting the nexuses lie empty. And because of that, he is just able to, if we open up the units tab, he is 4 probes ahead. It's not a huge thing, but over the course of the game, that's what we saw in game 1. It was just the economy was able to get up and running just a little bit faster, just a few more units every time those armies clashed. And StarCraft is a numbers game. Like, more often than not, the guy with more stuff that can build it faster is the guy who's going to win those battles in the long run. Unless, of course, you bring in some cannon rush tactics. And, you know, in a tournament form like this, it's not a bad idea. Just, I don't know how many of you guys have been cannon rushed before. It does not feel good. You don't want it to happen again. And we've seen already just how many times a probe has come down and double, triple, quadruple checked, like, hey, this isn't going to happen to me again, is it? Fortunately, it has not yet. There's still time. But we are seeing RoboBay going down for LowTemplar. We are also seeing, let's see, shield battery out front. This is something that I noticed was missing in game number 1 for Tenvic's defense, but does look like it's being set down now. Unit tab once again. Huge lead now in the probe counts. LowTemplar 36 to Tenvic's 24. Does look like there's some skirmishing happening out front.
These elves don't have any chance, though.
Yeah, it's true. Ooh, this Interesting. This Adept is in the mineral line.
Getting jumped by the boys.
Yes. Come on, boys. Take him down. The Sentry is just like, he's really interested in what this Nexus has to say. He's listening.
When they get a stalker while he's distracted.
Oh, very good call. Man, this Adept with 6 probe kills. This is a huge, nice little play from our from Tenvic here, as this last stalker is going to be chased home by one from the LowTemplar. LowTemplar is going to be able to stabilize a little bit, especially as this Immortal pops out. That is the core to an early Protoss defense, especially in PvP. As we do see 4 gateways, a Twilight Council, and a Stargate all being thrown down. It looks like Tenvic was microwaving his heart out to huge effect. That I think
Quad
upwards
Robo.
of Quad Robo. Is that real?
With the robotics bait coming out.
Wow. Okay. Both players, man. They had that fight, and they are infrastructure everywhere right now. Very interesting. Should be noted, Quad Robo, unsustainable on the number of bases, but I love the effort, because honestly, like, you can't constantly be pumping out 4 Immortals at a time off 2 bases, but you can build a bunch of them right after a big battle if it's been taking up all of your APM, which, you know, we could say it. We're not Masters level StarCrafters. Sometimes you forget to go back to your base and build stuff when you're in the middle of a heated micro battle, and it's nice to just come back and be like, all right, let's remake all my guys, let's get back to 200 and let's smash those defenses. And it looks like both players this time, much more infrastructure than we saw in game number 1. Lots more gateways for Tenvic. We do see Void Ray coming out.
I'm worried for these Colossi.
Colossi, an interesting choice. True. They're going to have a difficult time against these any air units that come out from Tenvic. I'm also thinking, let's see, Colossi are great against light units and small units. And it looks like so far Tenvic is doing the Blink Stalker plus Void Ray. So Colossi are going to be okay against the Stalkers. I do worry that the Stalkers are just going to be able to blink on top of the Colossi and focus them down.
This is not a map you can sneak the Colossi into the probe line either. It's completely
That's a good point. Yep. You can walk in to the gateways, I guess. That's the best, you know, Colossus sneaking. But man, this is just a big army. And I do think
if you have enough Immortals, you don't need to kill them.
I was gonna say, yeah, Immortals might be the secret heroes in this this composition right now, because there are no Immortals on the side of Tenvic right now. This one Void Ray, if LowTemplar is able to keep his Stalker count high enough to answer the right now the low number of air units, I think these Immortals are gonna have a great time against these Stalkers. Setting up in the 3rd base location.
Probe is going to get a big surprise.
A very big surprise, as 2 massive laser cannons just zap him out of existence. It does look... Oh, that was a good hit. Maybe these Colossus were the right choice. Yeah. I was doubting. I am no longer doubting.
It's a lot of damage.
Yeah, it's a lot of damage. The reinforcements coming down. Will it be enough? It does look like all of the Stalkers have been taken out. It is a game of seconds now to see how long it takes this Void Ray to take out the remaining massive forces. But it does look like Tenvic is going to hold. His army is wiped out, but structurally, he is okay. Took no economic damage, and I think he will recover. Both players have decent banks that they're going to be able to throw down and recuperate. It does look like LowTemplar's 3rd base is on the way. While the 3rd base from Tenvic was about to go down, but was rudely interrupted by that massive laser beam from the Colossus. Looks like probes transferring from the main down to this third base, get that up and running, fully saturated. If we look at the units tab here for both players, really, it does look like 3 Immortals to 1, 2 Colossi, both have 3 Stalkers, and those 2 Void Rays for... Ooh, wow. Those... Tenvic just shot up in the Stalker count, back up to 8. Love to see that many gateways being thrown down. I think that's a great call. I'd love to see even more once this third base gets up and running. But the
High
Colossus,
Templar.
High Templar, morphing
straight
into
Archons.
Archons. I love that. I'm a huge fan of Archon Zealot in general. I actually don't know if that's a great PvP thing, but man, against everything else, I just love it.
My instinct is to say no, but they're beefy against, especially with the shield upgrade. They're good against Void Rays.
I do like that, and that is a good deterrent for if Tenvic starts to go mass air, because Templars do have a splash attack that does splash against air, and if things get grouped up, I'm liking what I'm seeing. This is a huge number of Stalkers for Tenvic here. But for right now, I think...
that Storm upgrade coming through.
Oh, I would love that as well. Especially with how many... just the size of the ground army for our blue player here.
We do have Zealot legs. Only 1 Zealot, but, you know, it's a start.
That one got the
Will
special
hit a
treatment.
Stalker.
Oh, yes. Absolutely. Does look like...
Small fleet of probes as well.
Here we go. The
So
observer
it's a
from
huge
LowTemplar,
advantage.
seeing everything. Purely from the supply counts, we see 140 from orange and 97 from blue. Does look like blue's maybe got a slightly smaller army, and it doesn't help that just 2 units. Okay, he is going to try and blink out, but this army's going to swing around behind. Interesting. He's going to get sandwiched in between. Oh, some of these Stalkers are not in the fight just yet. The Archons get underneath the Void Rays.
Yeah.
This is chaos, but I do think that...
They can do it.
Yep. Orange's army is just too tanky with the Immortals and the Archons. I think they're just going to start to steamroll through the infrastructure here. Probes are going down. Tenvic leaves the game. LowTemplar moves on to the next round.